Well, hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing kind of a surprise review for me. In fact, this might be one of the biggest surprise reviews that I think I've ever done because I really wasn't sure. I really didn't think I needed this character until I saw it on the shelf and I saw the way that it looked, and I was like, you know what, I don't have any version of this character. I've reviewed the original, but I have absolutely, in my own personal collection, no version whatsoever of RID Sideburn. And now I do. Is it a perfect Sideburn? We'll dive into that because he's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And yeah, so this is Sideburn, and admittedly, I think that, certainly because of the vehicle mode, this is definitely a stylized version. However, I would also say that Hasbro's probably at a point where they're trying to kind of figure out what sort of a market is there for RID, so I doubt that we would get a lot of new molds here. I know we have the Omega Prime, and I think that that should speak volumes to the popularity of RID 2001. But for mainline on the shelves, I think they need to see that some characters that are adaptations will sell well first before really diving in headfirst to a lot of R&D for its own molds and own engineering. You know what I mean? So how well does this kind of score with that in mind? Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. So I really didn't plan to take a look at Sideburn, I'm not going to lie to you, because I wasn't actually going to get him until I saw him in person on the shelf, and I kind of made a snap decision of, you know what, I don't have a version of Sideburn. Now, I did look at a version of Sideburn before. That was actually the Super Sideburn, the red version of the original mold, which is quite fantastic, to be honest with you. And I looked at that in episode 921. This, of course, is the Legacy United version, which is based on the Legacy Evolution Shadow Striker mold, who I also looked at in episode 1110 as such. And not for nothing, but since we've seen the transformation, the way that that mold comes in package from robot to vehicle, we're going to see it in the other direction this time, so that both directions are documented here on the channel. And then, of course, we'll see comparisons with Shadow Striker as we go. This is the box. Very stylized version of his car mode, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Over here, we have a close-up of his head, which is actually quite good in the robot mode. Over here, our typical United stuff. And on the back, of course, we have our guy in, you know, his alt mode and his robot mode and, you know, all that usual accoutrement. Dude comes with a big set of instructions if you need them. And here we have both cars for Shadow Striker and for Sideburn, and I'll say two things. One, I think that the alt mode is really hers. I think that it's her alt mode. If you've seen the show and you've seen the kind of angular nature of her car and stuff, I think that this matches her alt mode better than this matches his. We'll talk about that in a moment. I will say, however, that I find the tolerances of pushing the hood, the roof down in place, and this back bumper, like sliding it into place, I think the tolerances are better, at least for me, on this copy than this copy. I really struggle to get the back bumper on because really that attaches in a couple of spots, and the rectangular tabs for this one, man, they struggle to stay in, but they stay in really nice on this one, so make of that what you will. I think that the car mode, it holds a little more solid here than here. Make of that whatever you wish. Rolls like a champion. I love that we have the rims actually colored in as we should. I think that that is a nice touch. Now the car itself though. And normally I wouldn't talk so much about this, but this is kind of so stylized. So we should have the flame detail on the side in a lighter blue, which we do have. We should have yellow windows all around, which we do have. We should have the rims painted in, which we do, and on the hood we should have this engine with the red detailing, which we do. We do not have the yellow headlights. We do not have the curved hood. We do not have the center of the hood being a light blue. In fact, the light blue is down underneath here. We do not have the license plate that says C004. We do not have his little fog lamps, floodlights, whatever the little lights are down underneath. So, and this is more angular, I think, than rounded if you know the actual car. So, very stylized car. If you're a big fan of RID 2001, by the way, not for nothing, but this guy is, on his package it says RID 2001, but tow line that was Buzzworthy Bumblebee says RID 2000. Really weird. Anyway, I digress. But if the car mode is a deal breaker for you, this might not be the road burn for you. In that case, I would suggest go back, get the original. If you own the original and wonder should you update, I don't think you need to do that. But if you don't have any and you're like me, you're not super invested, but hey, it's all right to have a representation of the character, and this might be for you. Okay, all of that out of the way. Let's do the transformation so we can actually give this guy some scores. We're going to begin, of course, by taking the blaster off of the roof, and we're going to unpeg this from the back. It comes off again quite nicely. If you are so inclined, you can do the whole Evo Fusion thing from Evolution and put these two pieces together like this, or maybe, is that the way, or does it go around the other way? Maybe it's around the other way. Oh, I'm sorry, this way, and give him a blaster, which, to be fair, is very similar to the blaster that the original Sideburn has for, you know, his blaster. Obviously, this one doesn't have a big missile in it. Okay, then we pick off that, and it's attached to the arm, and we're going to leave this to the side. Then we open a door, basically, and over on this side we do the same thing. We open a door. Right? That's where we're to so far. So far, so good. Next, we make sure I'm doing this right now. Next, we pick up an arm, and we pick up an arm, and we should, I think, be able... Oh, no, we can't bring those out yet. I'm sorry. We can't bring those out yet. We undo a foot, and we undo a foot. And we need to try and get all of this now apart up front. And this does kind of... It's a little bit of a nuisance to get the front apart there just because of how tight it pegs together. Okay, so we should be able to, I believe, yeah, bring down a leg. And we should be able to bring down a leg, straighten out a foot, and straighten out a foot. Pops all of that off, and now we stand our boy up. Okay. Yeah. Now that we've got all of this stood up, he's going off camera. I'm going to readjust the camera a little bit so that we can work from the waist all the way up to the top. So with the lower body done, we can come here now, and we begin, I believe, by, yes, pushing the center of the hood in and all the way up behind the engine. Then these two side pieces of the hood can go in, and that all comes down to become our guy's torso. Putting these down, we can now come to the arms, and they fold on the back until they pin in. And then using this whole armature here, we're going to bring it all the way down and then accordion it in on his back. We're going to straighten up that arm, and we're going to take his blaster and put it in his hand. We're going to straighten up this arm, and we're going to rotate this around. I don't think they tell you to, but the original and the cartoon has the windshield up here and kind of a piece of the car down here. So I turned it around just to kind of mimic that a little bit better. But boom, in the end, here we have Roadburn in his robot mode. Here we have him next to another RID 2000/2001 offering by way of tow line. I'm missing his hook, his purple hook. I don't know where it is. It's around somewhere. I just don't know where it is right now. I need to find that. But you know what? If your fiction, if your thing is RID 2001, which I respect that if it is, man, oh man, if you're getting that Omega Prime, these guys are going to look great with him, you know what I mean? So we're going to just take him out of it. Also, I mean, I guess I should, just for fairness sake, again, there he is with Shadow Striker. And I said when I looked at Shadow Striker that, come on, this is road burn, right? Or sideburn, right? I said definitely it's going to be. But I also am okay with it being the body type for a pre-beat up and hodgepodge messed together version of Shadow Striker. So I'm going to take it out of it. I just wish that she fit together as well as this guy does. Transformation for this guy. Honestly, everything is quite tight. I'm actually going to take this off the front of his blaster and put it on his forearm, just because I prefer. Actually, I'm going to take the blaster out of his hand. So I'm going to put this on his forearm, and then back underneath here. Is it this side or is it this side? It's this side. There's a little dot in there, and on the side of the blaster there's a little dot. It's not 5mm, but you can put that up under too, if you're inclined. Right? That's up to you, of course. So yeah, for transformation, I think it's more solid than Shadow Striker. I really like it. I'm going to give it a... I think this one is probably more like an 8.75. It's not perfect, but my copy is definitely toleranced better than my Shadow Striker copy. So I'm going to say 8.75. Let's do colors next, I suppose. That would make the most sense. Starting from the feet and working our way up. The feet should be light blue. They're black. The lower legs should be dark blue with the white. The thighs white. The pelvis should be the light blue. I do like that we have the silver and red detail right at the top of the waist there. The main torso should be mostly dark blue, but a bit of light blue. We're missing the light blue. The head here is pretty darn accurate. I think we might be missing his antennae. Maybe. I think we're missing his two little antennae. But besides that, the blue, the yellow, all of that seems pretty darn accurate to me. The red and silver on the chest, that's accurate. When we get to the arm over on this side, you know, again, we have windshield at the top and we have the rear windshield at the bottom. The top of the shoulder up here should be light blue, which it is. The entire bicep should be white, which it is. The forearm should also be white, which it's not. And the hand should be white, which it is. Also on that forearm, we should have an Autobot symbol, which I don't think we actually have. This arm over here, again, the top of it should have light blue, which it does, and then the rest of the entire arm should be white, which, again, it's not quite. The tires on the hips, or the thighs, that's also accurate. Again, I'm going to say that it's not perfect, but you definitely know that it's a road or sideburn. I'm going to say that this is, again, 8.75. Why not? 8.75. Then we got the articulation for the guy. The articulation, we have a head that goes left, right, little wiggle up and down. The arms can T-pose all the way out. We have, I don't want to say the ability to go all the way around because of the kibble here on the back, but I mean, it goes up and down. You get the range you want. Swivel at the bicep, I guess. About 90 degrees at the, about or actually? No, it's 90 degrees. Do we have a wrist rotation? We have a wrist rotation here. We have, picking these up, we have a nice free-flowing waist. These move, which I really, really like. Those being able to move allows for more dynamic posing. On this side, you can do what you like with this. You can even unpeg it from his arm, and it can peg right here on the back if you want. So like, if you're like, I don't want this on his arm, you can pick it off if you want and peg it on his back or lay it aside. That's up to you. The remainder of this arm is 90 degrees at the elbow, bicep swivel, wrist rotation. I already did the waist. We have splits ability, get that up, splits ability all the way to the sides. Pardon me. Leg all the way forward, leg all the way back, thigh swivel, 90 degrees at the knee, ankle tilt, no forward, but no real back. And not much hollowness at all on this guy, honestly. Like, next to none. Articulation is everything really I could want. Maybe a slight range of motion here and there. I'm going to say the articulation is a solid 9.5 though. 8.75, 8.75, 9.5. I think it's safe to say that this guy, as weird as this mold can be, is a solid 9. At least my copy is a solid 9. If you encounter tolerance issues or yours isn't toleranced as well as mine, then that score is definitely going to go down. Because I feel like when I graded Shadow Striker, she didn't do quite as well as this guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I really don't remember the scores I gave her. But I did enjoy her. I enjoy him, shockingly, a little bit more. And here we are once again. So I said, before we went over to the table, how do you think that a stylized adaptation would work for this guy? And I think it works surprisingly well. Not perfect, but surprisingly well. I think the car mode absolutely fits. I don't even remember her name. Shadow Striker? Yeah, Shadow Striker better. But the robot mode fits this guy better. I will also say that the tolerances during the transformation are way better on this version, or at least this copy, my copy of this guy, than they are on my copy of Shadow Striker. I'm sure that results will vary there. I accepted it for Shadow Striker because I said it's like a, you know, a being beat up and hodgepodge together Shadow Striker, the way she probably lived on Cybertron. For this guy, I did turn the roof around. I wish that he was a little more curvy, a little more sports car-esque than this silhouette would indicate. But when it comes to the robot mode, I said with Shadow Striker, way back when I done that review, come on, this is going to be sideburn, right? It's going to be sideburn, and lo and behold, it is. I don't think that we need a super sideburn from it. I don't think we need anything like that, but it's a nice little nod to an RID character that probably has been long overlooked. I like him, but I also understand that the scores I gave him will vary if your QC wasn't as good. I also understand that if you have the original, and you want to stick with that, there's no need to necessarily get this guy. He was a hard one to score because I can see a whole bunch of different views for him. What's yours? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, man, have some fun with us here on the channel. And don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a big difference in the world, man. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.